Hello, everyone. Again, thanks for joining us for the Veeva R&D and Quality Summit. So I'm here with Rylan Collins, and Rylan is, if you could perhaps introduce yourself to us, what's your role at Veeva? That'll be really helpful for our audiences.
Sure. I'm Rylan Collins. I lead our R&D business consulting practice for North America, and that covers clinical data, safety, and regulatory domains.
Excellent. So, Rylan, Veeva Business Consulting is known for helping organizations maximize the value of their technology investments.
That's right.
Can you perhaps discuss how consulting services can help improve collaboration between the research sites and sponsors, and how this in turn accelerates the time it takes to initiate clinical trials?
Right, to initiate clinical trials. So as you said, business consulting's primary objective is to help our customers maximize their investment in Veeva, get the most out of the Veeva technology by transforming their operating model. So their ways of working, their processes, everything that's encompassed by that. When it comes to helping the sponsors coordinate with the sites and get things started a bit faster, really, that's where you see the play in a lot of the applications in our clinical operations suite, and improving that relationship between sponsor and site. I mean, everything from Site Connect and the document exchange and everything else that does, payments, study training, etc. Right, all of those really revolutionize the way that sponsors are connecting with their sites. Now, the problem there is that the sponsor then needs to make sure that they evolve to capture all the benefits of those new applications. And that's really where business consulting comes in. Again, to change the process, to change the way of working, to get it into the organizational mindset that now this is how we are going to work with sites moving forward. And that's really where business consulting comes in to help the sponsor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And one of Veeva's key strategies is to allow the research sites flexibility in the technology that they use, while also ensuring seamless data sharing with sponsors. How does Veeva's business consulting guide clients in implementing this flexibility, and what impact does it have on patient care?
So similar. So I mentioned Site Connect, right? And as of August, the new development in Site Connect is they no longer require specific technology on the site side to use Site Connect. Now, instead, a site can actually just drop their files directly into the clinical vault of the sponsor. Where business consulting comes into that, usually, is again to help the sponsor evolve the operating model, right? So if I'm at a sponsor and I'm used to being one of these people connecting with the sites, managing the documents coming and going to sites, my life is going to look very different now that I have Site Connect in this example, right? And so we need to make sure that that sponsor has the kind of the new mindset, the new way of working. It's baked into processes, and everybody's bought in to be able to work with sites in that new way. And what that does is it enables kind of this new level of site centricity in the industry. And it's going to allow our sponsors to communicate with the sites better, and that speeds everything up. Activation, it gets more patients into the study faster, which eventually speeds up clinical trials and gets more patients on drug faster.
Mm-hmm. So when it comes to making decisions, like on whether to outsource or in-source clinical trials, right? How does Veeva Business Consulting assist some of those mid-sized biopharmaceutical enterprises in choosing the right approach? How does this decision-making process influence the overall speed and efficiency in bringing these new therapies to the market?
So with advanced technologies, like I've just been discussing in the ClinOps suite, you need advanced ways of working. In this case, I'll say you said kind of the emerging biotechs, mid-sized pharma companies. One of the announcements this year at Summit has been discussing how CTMS is really built for oversight in a really explicit way, right? And how oversight is enabled by CTMS. Now, when that's the case, it's actually going to really change how outsourcing works at your company, because things that used to be strategic, that you may have wanted to keep in-house, maybe are now trivial. Maybe you could actually outsource them with little impact to your business because of CTMS oversight capabilities, right? Because of CTMS transfer, you're seeing real-time data. Now that changes, right? But maybe some things that used to be outsourced are actually more strategic and you want to keep in-house. And so what business consulting has done in the past is help companies go through that list of activities and say, hey, actually, how strategic are these things? Should they be outsourced? Should they be insourced? Should they be offshore? Like those types of decisions, and actually going through that and kind of revamping again that operating model for the next gen ways of working.
Mhm. And Rylan, what would you say are some of the biggest challenges that mid-sized pharma companies have experienced based on what your discussions you've had with them, your experience in working with them?
Well, so there's, I mean, quite a few. I would say the one that we were just hitting on is a big one, right? Is the kind of lack of transparency. So often, the emerging biotechs have an extreme dependency on the CRO, and sometimes there's a bit of a black box there about what's actually going on a day-to-day basis at the CRO. You might not have the staff to actually keep up to date on everything on a daily basis, and you're more like getting weekly or even monthly kind of feedback in a PowerPoint slide from that CRO. And everyone's trying, and everybody's doing a good job, but it's just hard to communicate. Well, and this is really where, again, CTMS oversight, that type of thing, CTMS transfer can come in to really help our mid-sized companies have better understanding of what's going on a day-to-day basis with their studies to help make strategic action and changes if they're needed on a more real-time basis.
Access to real facts and real data. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Rylan, perhaps you can tell me a bit more about the ecosystem of the technology. So Veeva really emphasizes the importance of a connected technology system. That's one of the key themes in this year's conference.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And how does Veeva Business Consulting help organizations build and leverage such ecosystems? And what benefits have you observed in terms of workflow efficiency and patient safety, for example?
So I'd say there's two things. So you're right. So first, there's a theme of this year's summit as well, which is autonomy and alignment, which means that in each functional domain, whether that's ClinOps or regulatory or whatever have it, they should have the autonomy to kind of control their technology and their processes. However, they also need to make sure that they're aligned for key processes that touch cross-functional groups. Now, an example of that, for instance, is the power of clinical operations is great. But what about clinical operations when it's sharing the same data and processes as safety and as regulatory, and even when you get onto the commercial side of pharma and commercial and medical? You might say, okay, one very practical example is in our safety system today, right? You can use safety as a standalone, but if you have safety connected to EDC, then you're getting live SAEs, serious adverse events, kind of sent from database to database without manual interference. If you have safety connected to medical, then you're actually getting product quality complaints that are flowing directly into safety. And so these kind of reduce that manual interference that has to happen, which has happened forever in pharma. And by reducing that, you kind of reduce the chance of error. You also really significantly speed up the turnaround time, which means that pharma companies are able to act faster, in this example on safety issues. And that is obviously helping the pharma company and significantly helping the patient if the pharma company can respond faster. Right? Now, where does business consulting come in? So there's a couple of places. So the main two are in process. So that cross-functional process is not as easy to do without a little bit of external support. Business consulting has helped customers revamp this process internally at that customer, and help think about things in a bit of a cross-functional way. So if I'm in clin data, like what does that safety team need from me, and vice versa, right? The second piece is in governance overall, which is to say, how do you manage the technology if it's that connected? And that's really where that cross-fault governance theme comes in. You might hear some discussion about centers of excellence, Veeva Center of Excellence, and Veeva Business Consulting is really expert to help set that up in an organization.
Sounds like a lot of efficiency and automation of these workflows through an interconnected ecosystem.
That's right.
So like I'm a safety director, for example, and we need to be able to evaluate and quantify all of our safety events so that we can, for example, support an INDSR submission, right? Or helping to collate a medical report.
Yes,
this all available in one spot.
Yeah, and instead of looking at one Excel document and copying it over to another,
emailing it to like a bunch
emailing
of
it.
people. Yeah.
You're getting it live, and the system is helping you respond to it faster.
And you're essentially changing the workflow in which pharma companies are operating.
Meaningfully. And so if you work in safety, you know, those two realities that we just described are very, very different. Your job is very different when you have these Veeva pieces of technology in place. And so learning about that new process, designing that new process, getting organizational buy-in for that new process, that's all business consulting's remit.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And Rylan, my last question to you is Viva's approach to like smart automation, right,
Mm-hmm.
is really highly strategic. There's, I was talking to Richard earlier today, and he was mentioning, that AI really isn't a focus, but automation is a key focus.
Yes.
And I'm also hearing this throughout the presentations today.
That's right.
Can you perhaps share some examples of how Viva Business Consulting is helping clients apply this automation in ways that enhance clinical trial processes and speed up the delivery of those new therapies?
Yeah, so I mean, maybe one of the best examples is the one that we just talked through in safety, right? But those are true across all of the vaults. We could sit and kind of provide a lot of different examples of how certain highly manual, kind of lower value activities have been automated in Vault. I think as we talk about AI overall, that's a big part of it. It's not AI, but it's automation, and it's going to help significantly improve efficiency across pharma. In terms of AI adjacent activity, I would say there's also a good amount of advanced analytics that are capable at Veeva. Again, this is a business consulting task or remit, is to sort of make the best use of a lot of Veeva's data products in the data cloud to deliver insights to pharma, right? So one of the more common use cases for that nowadays is site ID or site selection, right? So assisting on a specific protocol, given a specific inclusion and exclusion criteria set, can Veeva help find the best sites? And the answer is yes. We have proprietary claims data in the form of Compass. We also have Link and Link Key People. And so what we've done in the past is help large and emerging pharma companies find the best sites by locating patients in the claims database and linking them to the sites and PIs that would be best for that site. Advanced analytics, that's not AI, but it's kind of a step closer. My final piece on that too is that I think it's not necessarily that Veeva is not focused on AI. I would say that our AI strategy, which is well documented, and you can find it, of course, on the website and everything like that, is really to enable our customers to use AI and to facilitate that use, right? And that's really, again, business consulting kind of follows that vein. So instead of kind of creating novel AI solutions, what we've done so far in this topic has been, when a customer wants to experiment with a new AI application, build something in-house, contract that out, whatever it is, we can really help think through the operating model implications, right? So just like when you get CTMS for the first time, maybe when you get this new AI technology for the first time, you need to rethink your operating model, your ways of working, processes, outsourcing, resourcing algorithms, whatever it is. And that's where we come in to help and think through how that applies and how that affects the Veeva system that you're already working with. So we are involved with AI, not creating, but facilitating, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. It does make sense. So Rylan, is there anything else you want to add?
So I just say overall, I mean, Veeva Business Consulting in R&D, in commercial, it's here. Our main goal is to help the industry transform the operating model so that our customers are getting the most out of their investment in Veeva and are really realizing the true innovative potential that exists in those products.
Great. Thank you again, Rylan Collins here from Veeva. And I will keep you posted tomorrow with some more information on what's going on at the summit.